Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker podcast, bringing you fun and soulful interviews with spiritual teachers with the aim of tuning you in and lighting you up. You can access all episodes of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos and interviews all about finding and following your life purpose. My name is George Lizos. I'm a spiritual teacher, intuitive, the author of Be the Guru and the #1 best-selling Lightworkers Gotta Work. And today I have with me Alexandra Wenman. Devoted to normalizing the conversation about spirituality and awakening, Alexandra Wenman brings the out there in here with her down-to-earth approach to channeling higher wisdom, accessing our Akashic and soul records, recognizing our true multidimensional nature, and honoring our divinity. A gifted angel communicator, spiritual alchemist, clear channel, healer, poet, and presenter, Alexandra has become a go-to expert and wise woman in a world that is waking up quicker than ever before. Alexandra, welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker podcast.
Hey George, thank you so much for having me, honey. How you doing?
I am well. I'm so excited to have you here. I mean, I've talked about these in your podcast as well, but I gotta mention in my podcast as well. Alexandra and I go way back. She was my entrance into the spiritual community, essentially, when I was a 21 or 22-year-old student in Bristol, wanting to break into the spiritual industry. And she was the editor of Prediction magazine. And she hired me to be one of the, an assistant, essentially, just helping out with the magazine. And I wrote my first articles for Prediction as well. And our path has taken us now, how many years later, many years later, chatting about
was
being
it
cool.
2011 or something you came aboard?
I try not to think about it.
Yeah, you came in like this little angel out of the blue, and we really needed the help, and you just appeared. And I just remember getting the email from you on that day and just going, oh my God, this guy is a dream.
Yeah, I was like, can I volunteer? I'm going to work for free. Sure.
I know. I think we had everyone working for free at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I was so grateful because I wanted to get into the industry and just start writing and experimenting and just being in the sphere. And I'm so grateful to you for helping me write my first ever article in a magazine. And today we're chatting all about your new deck, the Archangel Fire Oracle cards. I am so excited, first of all, about the name. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, I want to hear about your story of working with the Archangels and getting to publish this deck.
Oh my goodness, where do I begin? It began in very early childhood. I mean, I was supposed to, my mother was told that I wasn't going to survive. So she was told that she was going to be having a stillbirth, and that this baby wasn't going to happen, wasn't going to come into the world alive. So I had a very early near-death experience as a baby and was resuscitated and miraculously brought back to life. And from the moment I was born, I believe I came in very open because of that. And I have memories. My memory is very long. So I have memories of when I was a tiny baby. My mum reckons I probably wasn't even about a year old. There was a day that they went to the beach with me, and they saw some friends arrive on the beach, and it was the 70s, so everyone was very chilled out. But they left me on the beach, and I have this memory of my parents running off to go and speak to these people and me lying on the beach. So I have memories of that. I also have memories of being very young and being in my room at night and seeing these arcs of light that would come through my bedroom. Now, I grew up in rural Australia where it was pitch black. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So where these lights came from, I had no idea, but I knew I was being protected. And I know now that those were the angels coming in. My mother, who was Catholic and raised us to be Catholic, taught me angelic prayers, and I would often see faces looking at me in the dark. I would see all manner of things. I mean, I was very drawn to the stars, and I could see all kinds of weird beings. There was all manner of things, and I would only ever feel safe when I called on the angels for protection. And that's usually when I would see the lights coming into my bedroom. And then like you do, I went off to Catholic school, and gradually, surely, they closed down my little imagination and told me I was just imagining it and none of it was real, even though it was, in the church they have angels. I just got told that my imagination was nothing to write home about. So I gradually shut it down. And I remember going through a bit of an awakening when I was about 14. and I could feel spirit around me. And I remember sitting in my little bedroom at home in Coffs Harbour going, okay, I want to pass all my exams, so I want to be psychic. But then I could feel all these spirits in the room around me. I knew they were ancestors. I couldn't see them. I didn't want to see them, but I could feel them. It was like the room was full. And I said it at 14 years old, no, I'm not ready. I don't want to see dead people, go away. And they went away for another 7 years. And when I moved to London at the age of 21, it's like I couldn't hold it back anymore. They were there. And I stepped off the plane in London and my whole body went into a kind of a shock. And I think it's because I was picking up on past lives and ancestral energies, and it just all hit me all at once. I mean, Australia is a very different energy to here. And again, I kind of went through this massive awakening. 2 years after I'd been in London, I went back to Australia to visit and had a big fight with my mum, and I wasn't happy, and I wasn't fitting in here. I felt like I had depression. And my mum said to me, you know, have you asked the angels for help? And I remember at that time going, oh, here we go. Here she goes with her angels. You know, this is all a bit weird. But I must have been at really rock bottom, because I sat down that afternoon and I went, okay, fine. If you're there, I need evidence. I need proof. I need to know. Just give me some sort of sign. And I don't even know what made me ask that, but I just said it. And from that, I started to see the word angel written everywhere. People would walk past it. It would pass me. It would be on their T-shirts. I was in a supermarket and this voice went, would angel come to the cash register? It was unavoidable. I mean, my then boyfriend and I, a couple of days after that moment, drove to this beautiful place called the Promised Land in just south of Coffs in Bellingen, one of my favorite places on the planet. And we drive into the car park and it's like Archangel Gabriel Reserve is the name of the
Wow.
place. So, I mean, they started then. And then I started to sort of delve into spirituality, and I was awakening, and I was kind of playing with my gifts. I mean, I always had. I mean, I remember being a teenager and reading like Starhawk's The Spiral Dance and becoming obsessed with witchcraft when I was probably about 15 years old, carrying that around in my backpack. And I remember dabbling. I'd always dabble, but I'd always get scared, and then I'd sort of go, oh, and put it away for a while and run for the hills. And this time I sort of went, no, you know what? I'm gonna start delving into this more. And then the universe heard that call. And in 2008, I was working in celebrity magazines at the time. I was like the food editor of Now magazine and a celebrity party reporter. But in 2008, miraculously, lots of things lined up, and I was given a free scholarship to do a healing modality called theta healing. And on that course, we were just playing around. I think it was like, I don't even know if it was level 1 or 2, but they just said, oh, we're not, this isn't really part of the course, but we're going to work with the angels this afternoon. And my ears pricked up. I was like, okay, this is my bag. Because by then I'd really dived into all the angels. I'd read all Diana Cooper's books and Doreen Virtue's books and was really kind of absorbing it. But this afternoon I had an experience with an angel that was nothing like anything I'd read in any other book. It was obviously my very unique way of experiencing angelic energy, and it was really powerful, and it blew my socks off. And this is the way I work with the angels and teach about them now, in that I closed my eyes that day, and within a split second of asking which angel was with me, the whole universe just opened up. The room disappeared, everything dissolved, my body dissolved, and I just became the angel. It wasn't separate from me. It was me. It was like it was a part of me and I was a part of it. It was absolutely blow your socks off, immense. And I remember feeling the power of being this being, but it also, I could see it as though it was separate, but then I had multiple perspectives. So it was me, and I could see it, and I could see it from every different angle. And it was Metatron, and it was this huge gold being. And at the time I'd not heard of Metatron, or not that I'd remembered anyway. I knew of Michael and Gabriel and all of that. And I was laughing my head off, because the way he appeared was like a huge geometric gold robot. And I was laughing because I was like, this is like Transformers, really. This is like a joke. It's like a heavenly joke. It sounds like Megatron and it looks like a robot. Really, am I making this up? But of course, Metatron is the angel that represents sacred geometry and the patterns of nature. And I didn't know, but at that very early time, I mean, the wording that they kept bringing me after that day, because I had multiple experiences with Archangel Michael about a year after that. And I kept having these immense angelic experiences. And Lord Melchizedek was one where it was literally, it wasn't separate from me, it was me. And they started to talk to me about spiritual alchemy. And that was when I was told, you're an alchemist. We want you to work as an alchemist. We want you to teach about us, write about us. And I've been in resistance to it, really, George. I mean, I'd been in resistance to it for a long time. And as part of that embodying of angelic energy, which is no light and fluffy thing, they are powerful. It is power, but it is the immense power of love. But I started then to have the deconstruction of my personality as I knew it, and the deconstruction of my life. So I went through a series of these very dark nights of the soul where the rug was pulled out from under me, and I was catapulted along my path. So, you know, it doesn't happen for everyone, but that's the way it happened for me. It was very rapid, accelerated, and almost like you can't hold back the angelic tide. When they want to get you moving, they will get you moving. And I'm sort of in a weird way going through another one of these at the moment, which I won't talk about on camera, but it is, you know, it really gets you into your power, and it really enables you to, you must come into your own truth, because we as humanity, we're often conditioned to follow somebody else's guidance or somebody else's opinion or viewpoint. But these angels, the archangels particularly, want to get us in our power so that we can operate from our own truth, our divine truth, and make decisions that are right for us. And people might have opinions about that, and that's okay, because that truth is unconditional love, and it is immense and powerful. So I realized from those experiences that how I needed to teach about the angels wasn't about calling on a rescuer, hey, Michael, come and help me. It was about invoking the Michael within yourself, invoking the Metatron within yourself. And yes, they are beings of light. They are guardians that from our human perspective are separate from us, but they are also the bridge in consciousness between our human self and our divine self. And so they are part of us as well as being outside of us. It's like this great paradox. But when you work with an angel, especially an archangel, the whole point is that you embody what they come to teach, that you walk the talk, you walk the path. So you become like an angel upon the earth. You walk on the earth with devotion as a saint on the earth. So you live the best life possible.
Oh my
So,
God, I
sorry,
love what
George,
you
that was the
shared.
short answer.
I love what you shared, and I wanna like stand on 2 points. The first one being that you grew up knowing and having a relationship with the archangels, and then later on in your life, after you blocked it up and then finally unblocked it, you were able to continue that relationship, which is to say that we're all doing this as children because we're not yet disconnected from our connection to source, essentially, and from our connection and alignment with all the magical beings all around us. And it's just a matter of not developing our abilities, but remembering our abilities and remembering something that we were born with. Second point that I wanna like emphasize a little bit more is exactly what you said, that the archangels, the angels, they're not outside of ourselves. They are part of us. And I was just reminded of something that I ask my clients to do while they're connected with any kind of spirit guide. For example, Archangel Michael, I guide them, just say, I am Michael, and feel yourself stepping into the energy of Michael or a Metatron or Gabriel. Because when we start seeing archangels and angels and all the spirit guides as higher powers outside of ourselves, then we're becoming codependent and we're giving our power away. So thank you so much for bringing such an empowering perspective on a concept that has been used in such a codependent, needy way for such a long time. We're so grateful. And I want to move into the deck. So Archangel Fire. Why Archangel Fire?
So I've got the first, I actually have the first
physical. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
I can't believe to hold it in my hand. So it was a 10-year project. This, so the name, it actually started as, it was supposed to be called Archangel Alchemy because it started as my column in Prediction Magazine, as you know, George,
yes.
from like more than 10 years ago, actually.
More than 10 years ago. Indeed.
11 years ago, it was Archangel Alchemy. And well, I won't talk about necessarily why we had to change the name, but the name actually I feel fits really beautifully and is really powerful, because one of the ways the archangels get me to work with them is to work with their flames. They come in on these sacred color flames, and different teachers as well will have different ways of seeing their flames. They're not always some people will see Michael as coming in on a red or an orange flame. I see him coming in on a cobalt or indigo blue flame, but with orange sparkles. But each of these rays, each of the rays I've used in my deck were channeled to me directly by the archangels, and the ones that they specifically wanted me to teach about and work with through this deck. So it follows the rainbow frequency. So we start with a russet ray, which is like a russet red, very earthy. Actually, no, we start with the black flame, which contains all the colors of the rainbow. And we look at the dark night of the soul, and we look at the void, and we look at facing our fears, actually. And there's, to my knowledge, I don't know that there's another angel deck out there that takes you into the shadow. I'm not sure, but I do take you into the shadow first. And then it's this journey through the beautiful earth of the russet ray, up through the ruby flame, and then all the way up through the rainbow spectrum. But there's ascended flames in there as well. There's the pink ray of love and compassion. We also go all the way up through the platinum, the diamond, the gold, the whole rainbow spectrum, right into that diamond frequency. So it's a whole journey through each of those colors, but also the qualities and the principles and the gifts that they teach. And it's all this is, even though it's an oracle, even though you can pull a card and get a message, it's not just about divination. This is an alchemical journey through each angel, its principles, its qualities, its symbolism. So there's symbols here. You'll see on the side here we have angelic fire sigils. And I'll show you, if I can show you the back of the cards.
Yes,
There's
please.
a powerful symbol on the back of each card, which was channeled to me. And this is the sigils, the fire sigils. I don't know if you can see it in the light.
Yes.
Yeah, the central sigil means Archangel Fire. And each of the 40 sigils around the outside are the sigils for each of the angels. And I love that they're almost like little lightning bolts. But you can work with them just with this symbol by meditating on it, and you'll be downloaded with all the codes and the teachings of each angel just by meditating on that one symbol. So it's
you can do, essentially, you can do so much with each card. It's not just an oracle deck. You can use it to go through an entire spiritual transformation. And you talk about the angels being keepers of our ascension pathway. So can you talk a little bit about that and how they can help us to ascend through the deck?
Absolutely, I would love to. So to me, our ascension pathway, there's so much in it, but essentially we're going from believing that we are just 3D physical humans that are, powerless really, or that we're passive in our life. But we're realizing now that actually we are not just these physical bodies, that we are part of the divine. We're a huge, vast, infinite divine consciousness that exists on a frequency of pure love. And if we saw the divine as a big crystal or a big diamond, as I see it, big diamond, if you shine a light through that, it fractals. It fractals into millions and trillions and zillions of different colors, different faces, different facets. And like the angels, I see the rays of these angels as the color rays being sprinkled out, being separated out. But we are also part of those facets. We're facets of the divine. We're like unique fingerprints or snowflakes of the one whole. So we're starting to understand now that we are capable of so much more than we think we are. And this is why so many people are coming into their gifts of extrasensory perception, their healing gifts. Some of us are doing light language. I'm a direct channel, so I get shown that I'm capable of doing psychic surgery when I was never taught how to do it. A lot of people are, like you said, George, remembering our ancient wisdom where we may have had lifetimes of learning this stuff. But it's not linear, it's holographic. So even our future timelines can be influencing us here now. And I've worked with these beings that are like plasma angels, but they actually are us in the future, many, many multitudes into the future, when we no longer have need of our physical vessel. And they come in and they give me guidance and help, and they talk about what's happening with humanity, and that, you know, we're raising our frequency, and we're realizing that we can communicate with each other through our hearts. It's interesting, this wearing of the masks, and the fact that people are, you know, being kind of masked and almost gagged in a weird way. But on the positive side of that, we're learning to feel each other. We're learning to read each other telepathically without the need for communication or to see each other in order to do that. So for every negative that we see in a situation, there's always a positive. There's two sides to every coin. But I mean, to me, ascension is an enlightenment. It's realizing that we are divine. We're the divine having a human experience, not, you know, not the physical, not just stuck here. I mean, there are certain people that think that, you know, Earth is a prison planet, and from some perspectives and timelines, that might be true. The Matrix is a true thing, and I've seen the levels of that. But from the divine perspective, everything's happening exactly as it should, and there is a higher plan. And I think we need to remember that. But it's almost like, I see it like a game. I do. I almost see it like, I never used to play computer games, but I find that psychically I can navigate my way through this realm a little bit like I'm playing a computer game. Like, there's different obstacles to overcome and different things to learn, and the way through is always love. When we push against it through fear and constriction, and that saying, what you resist persists, we'll often be met with a closed door. But when we realize, okay, that door's closed, I sit back, I relax, I trust, I open my heart, I come into acceptance, I forgive, I love, I move forward, is always the way that I do it. And that's what these guys are here to tell us about.
Yes.
The other thing I want to say about this is that I did, in the designing of the cards and in the depictions of the archangels, I worked with a beautiful artist called Avelia, and I wanted to make this a fellowship. Like, I really wanted an homage to human and angelic fellowship, friendship, and inclusivity. So each of the angels, they're portrayed as different races. They have different skin colors. There's even you know, asexual angels in here. There's like a beautiful one, Soged Hosey, who holds the balance, who is both male and female at the same time. So I wanted to give it a nod to every single person. It's all about us being unique, and how the angels don't judge us. They accept us exactly for who we are. So you can't put us in a box, even though I put them in a box. But
I love the different layers and dimensions of the deck and the way you teach about archangels. And I love that you're going into the shadow aspect of life as well, because it is so important. And for so many years, angels and archangels were correlated to just fluffy, positive emotions. But it's not just that. They are here for us, for everything, through everything that we're going through, not just when we're feeling high vibe. And I want to talk a little bit about the different layers of the deck, and therefore the different ways we can work with it. So you include the archangel's powers and benefits, corresponding star constellation, sacred symbols, colors, chakra energies, crystal and essential oil associations. Can you talk to us a little bit about why you chose to include those elements in there?
basically because they've always talked to me about the fact that we are multidimensional in nature. And this is another example of the multidimensional nature of each ray and each angel and the associations, and that there's so much depth to it. I mean, there's even hidden depth in these cards that you will only find if you go through your heart. I mean, there's whole depth of meaning that goes beyond what I've shared here, that will open you once you operate from your heart and from that sphere of gnosis that really is beyond any wisdom that you can learn. You're going to find these cards are gateways. They really are gateways. The star constellations that I refer to in the cards are actually some of the star races and star nations that came through and worked with me. So there are beautiful, actually, galactic angels and galactic beings that I didn't go into too much depth with in the deck. I wanted to just allude to them. Otherwise, I would never finish writing it. But know that when you're working and connecting with those star constellations, there are also ascended races that are helping humanity at this time that work very closely with the angelics. And they're beautiful, the Arcturians and the Andromedans, and, you know, beautiful star beings, Syrians and Lyrans, and yeah. So these are some of the ones that I work with and that I channel from. So they wanted to overlight and have their presence known. Also, like in connecting with the color rays, I'm actually doing a Spirit and Destiny live Facebook thing every week for the next few weeks. I'm doing it for 9 weeks, and we're working through some of the rays, not all of them. But I talk about how different crystals and colors, like today we did the yellow ray of Jophiel and I was wearing yellow, but I was talking about like serpentine quartz is one crystal that you can connect with that angel's energy, beautiful yellow opal. And these, you know, they have different qualities because each yellow is different as well. You know, you can see that yellow is warmer than that one. I see this as a cooling stone. So again, the crystals have a multifaceted meaning. But to me, this is a representation of almost the angelic presence bridging with earth, because to me crystals are like frozen light and the angels are made of light. So it's anchoring and bridging heaven to earth. So they're one way of making your experience of the angels more physical. So perfume, smell, the essential oils, bathing with their energy, sleeping with a crystal under your pillow, all of these associations, even the symbols, it's a way to make it more physical for you, more true, more real, and bringing you evidence. Because if, say, you have an experience with an angel, and I always, when I'm channeling with the angels, I always get people to imagine a symbol that the angel has given them, and then they see that symbol somewhere in their daily life as a piece of evidence in the coming weeks, so that they know they've had that experience, that it wasn't just their imagination. So these are symbols and properties and qualities that, exactly, if you call on Jophiel, and the crystal associated with Jophiel is one of the yellow stones, for example, a couple of weeks later, someone might give you a yellow stone, or you might stumble across one, or you might see a picture of one, or it's like layers of evidence and meaning and extra healing qualities that you can call on to support you in your ascension.
I love that, because you touched on a very important point in the idea that we need something palpable to be able to have a communication with the angels. Not that we need it, but we want it. It's easier for us to have a communication with the spirit world because we're physical beings, because we compartmentalize ourselves into different bodies. So it makes sense to be able to communicate with the angels by using different symbols. And like, for example, while you were just talking about Jophiel, I realized I'm wearing yellow as well. And I'm at the same time having another realization that Jophiel has been one of my favorite angels to work with. And I'm like, oh, that's a sign for me right now. And right now, I've just turned on the card for my day, and it's a yellow card as well, which says, I welcome healthy, loving relationships, which is what I've worked with Jophiel with before. So, and it's what I'm manifesting right now. So here are all the synchronicities happening for me right now. And this is what people can do with the deck, and getting to work with all the different synchronicities and the different layers of the symbols, because when you know them, then you can see them, and the angels can communicate with you through these layers.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited to get my hands on this deck, and I'm excited for everybody to get their hands on this deck. Can you please let us know, where can people order it, and where can people get in touch with you?
It is up for pre-order now. It comes out, I believe, in the UK on the 13th of May 2021, and it's out in America actually earlier than that, in April. So Amazon, you can get it. Inner Traditions in the States, and it's Findhorn Press in the UK. It's also in French. I've got to show you. It's so beautiful.
Wow, really? Already?
Oh my
God. I love it.
I don't have a good French accent, but I always get my friend Sebi, my agent, to say
I'm not gonna try. I speak Spanish, but not French.
If I ever come across people that can speak French, I say, please, can you read this for me? Because Oracle Thérapeutique, it's so beautiful, the French. And I just love, it was almost a nod to Mary Magdalene to have this reddy purple here. And it's very alchemical, the gold and the purple. But that's Archangel Ariel on the cover. She's my homegirl. So it's Très Daniel is the French publisher. But again, I'm pretty sure if you just Google it, you will find it. I've got a lot of the links to how you can buy it on my website, which is alexandrawenman.com, and there's a shop, and you can just click there and you should be able to find all the places you can pre-order.
And of course, all the links will be in the show notes, so you can go there and buy Alexandra's Archangel Fire Oracle cards. Alexandra, thank you so much for being on the Lit Up Lightworker podcast. It's been such a pleasure having you here.
Oh, thank you so much, George. Can I just say as well, it's such an honor to connect with you again, honey. And if people want to find me on Instagram as well, it's Alexandra C. Wenman. Not many people know that there's a C in it, just to make it easier. But thank you so much, George, for having me. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. Wishing you a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.